plan of attack.
Banks have become an essential threat to our democracy. So consider this justice.
Thank you for listening to Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com, the #1 listener-supported radio station on the internet. Please help support this station so this battle can continue forward. Revolution Radio!
Extendivite really works. Just listen to what some people have to say.
Several years ago, I was developing a very severe situation. I called it my flippy heart. It just was doing not good things, and I did not want to go to a medical doctor because I just knew they would give me a cover-up pill. I didn't want to get onto that sort of thing at all. When I learned it was garlic and cayenne is a healer. It is a wonderful herb. I said, I think I'm onto something here. I'll tell you, I wouldn't be without it. It did wonderful things for me.
Extendivite is only $69.95 for a 2-month supply of either capsules or liquid. Call now. That's 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendivite.
The opinions expressed on this radio station, its programs, and its website by the hosts, guests, and call-in listeners or chatters are solely the opinions of the original source who expressed them. They do not necessarily represent the opinions of Revolution Radio and freedomslips.com, its staff, or affiliates. You're listening to Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com, 100% listener-supported radio, and now we return you to your host.
Welcome to Sacred Matrix, a divine paradigm of love and universal consciousness, with your host, Janet Kira Lessin and Dr. Sasha Lessin.
Together we transform the world.
And now, here are your hosts, Janet Kira and Dr. Sasha Lessin.
You should be live now.
Okay, aloha everybody and welcome to the Sacred Matrix on Revolution Radio, and I'm your host, Janet Kira Lessin, with my co-host, Dr. Sasha Alex Lessin, and our producer is a mad painter, and our special guest today is Andrew Aloha. And Andrew Aloha has been on a number of psychic networks and is a World Renown Intuitive Astrologer for over 20 years. He's been interviewed a number of times and has helped hundreds, if not thousands, of people throughout the world with their careers, money, clarity, relationships, twin flames, soulmates, transitions, loved ones, the afterlife, future lives, UFOs, aliens, implants, health, wealth, manifestation, missing people, missing items, missing animals, and more. And I'm getting a little bit of feedback here. I hope that we're coming through loud and clear. I have a very long bio on QuarionRadio.com. Please go over and check that out. There's pictures and more information about Andrew Aloha. So, Dr. Sasha, Alex Lessin, my beloved, are you there? Hello, Sasha. Okay.
He's on mute.
Sasha, you're on mute. Unmute. What? You there? You okay? Hello? Okay. Well, we'll go to Andrew. Andrew Aloha, are you there? Welcome to the show.
Aloha, I'm here. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I'm not sure what happened to Dr. Sasha.
Right.
Sweetheart, can you hear us?
Maybe he got teleported.
No, he can't be teleported. He's got to be there. Okay. So, Andrew, would you please tell us a little bit more about yourself? You have a very long, detailed bio and lots of things you've done in your lifetime. If you want to start by telling us a little bit about yourself, that would be great.
I'll give you a biographical run through of who I am, where I've come from, and where I'm going, and where I'm at now.
Excellent. Okay.
I've actually been a blog talk radio show host for several years, 8-9 years over the years. I've lived in northern Arizona, mostly in Sedona for the last 23 years plus years. I live in Flagstaff now, and when I was living with a girlfriend in California, and then I came back to Sedona back in, I think it was around 2007, if I remember right. And a friend of mine introduced me to Blog Talk Radio. She goes, "Well, why don't you check out this website?" I said, "Okay." So I did. I went and checked it out, and I thought, a new toy to play with. Why not? So my girlfriend and I started doing healings and meditations on Blog Talk Radio, and then I started doing interviews, like, one every 2-3 weeks or so, and then things started getting boosted up or so, and I said, "Okay, God, I'll do these interviews, but I'm not going to go out of my way to find these people. Either you bring them to me or forget it. I'm just not going to do it." So anyhow, that's kind of how it's been. I literally the next morning around 7:30 in the morning, the mayor of Sedona, Rob Adams, he calls me up. "Andrew, you still want to do that interview?" I'm like, I'm not even ready yet, but.
I don't hear anything. Turn the volume off.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you volume on it.
I thought you said you could hear me.
What you're doing, which is
they're trying to work out something with Sasha's. Go ahead and keep going.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
I can hear you.
Okay, so you want me to pick up from where I stopped at?
Aloha. Can you hear us?
Yes. Yes. So anyhow,
okay.
You can hear me, right?
I just now am able to hear you.
Okay. So anyhow, Rob Adams calls me at 7:00 in the morning, and he asked me if I wanted to do an interview. I want to interview him still, so I did. I interviewed him. In fact, I interviewed him twice over the next couple of years after that, and then I've just been doing radio shows. I've done a variety of shows, relationship shows, music shows, psychic shows, interviews. I've interviewed people from all over the world. Some of them have been on the Oprah Winfrey Show, History Channel, CNN, Conscious Life Magazine, and all kinds of other places. So, anyhow, over the years, I've done, my most popular show was the Psychic Show. And, over the years, I've done hundreds and hundreds of readings on Blog Talk Radio, which you can go and look up, Spiritual Image Productions and find me there. Does that make sense to you guys?
Yes, it sounds great. So, and then you've been involved with, you traveled to India. You were telling me on the show the other day how you were drawn to go to India, and tell us a little bit about your adventures there. This is kind of building into who you are. What went into the making of Andrew Aloha?
I could go on for hours. Well, anyhow, over the years, I've learned, years and years ago, I was going to an acting school called KD Studio, now called KD Conservatory, we had just graduated. About a day later, I went and talked to one of the administrators, Alan Winslow, and it was kind of interesting how all that manifested because we were outside talking. I don't know, we were just talking about something, and all of a sudden I had this surge of energy, literally like electricity going through my body, and I found myself asking Alan what meditation was. I said, "What's meditation?" And at the time, I don't know who asked that question because it wasn't me. It was one of those moments, right? So He goes, well, why don't I just take you to my office and we'll go. I'll show you how to do a guided meditation. I said, okay. So we did. We went to his office. We come to find out that this person was one of my teachers at the time. Have you ever heard of in the Eastern philosophy where when you run into a teacher, they pass down their energy to you, their powers to you? Have you ever heard of something like that before?
Yeah, I think they call it Shakti Pod.
Yeah, exactly. Literally, he did that to me. I was in a dream after this moment of guided meditation. I don't know, a few days, few weeks later, I had a dream where him and I were in an elevator, and I think we were going down. I don't know, like into the subconscious type of thing, right? And all of a sudden, there's all these jewels, and he gave me all these jewels, like I don't know, they were like big and sapphires, rubies, all this stuff, emeralds, and that was him passing down his powers to me. And later on, I learned that he was out in New York. He moved to New York, and he some black guys, no offense, nothing personal, but threw some bottles at him, and while he was riding his bike 10 speed, and he fell over and he got killed. So that was kind of interesting how that happened. So anyhow, he at the same time, he also introduced me to a woman in Texas, again in Texas, and this is all in Texas, near Dallas. He introduced me a woman who showed me transmission meditation. I don't know if have you ever heard of transmission meditation?
Tell me what you mean by that.
Transmission meditation is a meditation of service, karma yoga and laya yoga. You have to have at least 3 people participating, and that makes a connection, and literally the energies from this meditation are sent out into the world to help people heal of all kinds of stuff. I mean, and you don't direct the energies. Eventually, a master or a saint or somebody that's pretty evolved oversees and overshadows the group, and then the energies are directed by that master or saint. And like, for example, instead of a train crashing and 5 people getting killed, maybe 2 or 3 people will get hurt instead. So it's like that. All kinds of stuff happen from that. But anyhow, there's groups all over the world. It's under the guidance of Benjamin Creme. We talked about Benjamin Creme. Now, Thomas, do you know who Benjamin Creme is?
No. Sasha, do you know who Benjamin Creme is?
Oh.
Sasha, you there?
I don't know who Benjamin is.
Okay.
I do not, Jen.
Okay,
cool. You do not. Well, anyhow, he was overshadowed by Maitreya Buddha, and Maitreya Buddha is supposed to be the guy that's supposed to come back from the Bible. The Christ is supposed to come back from the Bible. At the time when Jesus was here to inaugurate and initiate the age of Pisces back in the day, 2100 years, and it takes 2100 years for our solar system to cycle from one sign to the next. So literally about almost 150 years ago, our solar system started going into the age of Aquarius. So we've been going through that transition for several years. The middle of that energy is when World War I, World War II, Vietnam War, Korean War, all those wars happened. So that's fulfilling that whole thing about in the Bible about all these people dying, blah blah blah, and eventually the Christ comes back like a thief in the night in the clouds, and that's exactly what Maitreya Buddha did back years ago, back in 1977. He literally put together his body called the Mira Rupa body. I don't know exactly how to pronounce it, but anyhow, he donned this body, and the body is literally put together from all kinds of elements all over the universe, and mostly the earth. And so literally, Maitreya Buddha has never been born like a normal person, like out of a womb, like out of a body, like out of a mom, right? So years ago, he donned this body, and then he started appearing to I think he started appearing to or talking to Benjamin Creme, and Benjamin Creme is an artist from years out of Scotland. His paintings, you can go to Scotland. They have a whole museum of his work there, worth thousands and thousands of dollars. So anyhow, he came to to Benjamin Creme, and he overshadowed him. And Benjamin Creme says tears just came down from his face, just pouring, because he just because of the energy of the Christ energy, the love energy, the love and wisdom energy pouring through, that were so powerful and so amazing, compassion and loving, that all he could do is have tears called Kriya. I think they're called Kriya tears. But anyhow, all these tears start pouring, and then he had a conversation with Maitreya Buddha at the time. So so anyhow, part of his mission, of Benjamin Creme's mission, was to go out and teach the world how to do this transmission meditation, and then to talk to people about Maitreya Buddha, which he did over the years. He went to all different countries, Japan, I believe Russia, of course the United States. I don't know if he went to Scotland or not, but to Sweden. But all these different countries he went to, and basically talked to people about Maitreya Buddha and did this transmission meditation. Well, I was in on a few of these lectures and a few of these meditations. A lot of times he would come into town and do a private meditation with the transmission meditation group, which I did on a number of times. And so anyhow, eventually I was going to school at Texas Christian University, and back in 1991, and I did. I went to England, and I meditated with Benjamin Creme's group out in London, which was the first original transmission meditation group. And when you do the meditation, you maintain your attention at most of the groups maintain their attention at the Ajna Center or the third eye area, and work with their emotional body, and then the first group, and probably the only group, maybe there's other groups, but if there is, there's only a handful, 2 or 3 groups, if even that. But all the other groups maintain their attention at the crown chakra. And so when people would do this, when I went to do this meditation with a group in England, that's where I would maintain my attention at. Other times, otherwise, I would when I did the meditation with the other groups, I would maintain my attention at the third eye area. Now, the interesting thing about this, Janet and Dr. Sasha, is that when you go and meditate with any group, so as long as they're continually meditating, same time, same place throughout the years, you can still, if you go and meditate with that group, you can stay connected to that group via telepathy and just make a telepathic connection, and then you meditate with that group. So that's exactly what I've done.
Yeah, love is forever.
Yeah, exactly. So that's exactly what I did. I over the years, I've maintained my connection with that group since then, and I do a meditation now. I've been doing it for about 2 or 3 years now. I don't even remember, because at first I when I started doing Blog Talk Radio, I started doing this meditation on the air, and then I got so busy I had to stop. I just stopped doing it on the air. Period. Just did it on my own, and then eventually I came back and I started doing it, and I do it once a week now. And what I do is the first ever world group transmission meditation. I call it transmission meditation on the air. So, and you can go to my website, spiritualimageproductions.com. On the left-hand side, there's a link there where that's transmission meditation on the air. You go to that page, and there's all kinds of information, including an ebook that Benjamin Creme wrote about transmission meditation, how to do it, and so forth. And but there's also an introductory video that I've done, put on YouTube, so that people can go in there and verse themselves on how to do the meditation and then do it at leisure. And that's the nice thing about this meditation. You can do this meditation whenever you want, wherever you want, as long as you want, however you want. So, well, maybe not however you want, but you can do this meditation for 10, 15 minutes or for the full 2 hours if you want. It doesn't matter. You can come in late, you can leave early. And, now the only thing is what I've discovered over the years, I came back and I maintained my connection, with the Benjamin Creme group out in England, again, which I still do. And I don't even know if they're still meditating at that time and space and place, because Benjamin Creme passed away about 2 years ago. I think 2.5 years or something like that. But anyhow, he came to me in a dream, or not in a dream, but he came to me, spiritually, and then he literally does this meditation with the group as well. He participates, but he passed away, and I maintained my attention, and I discovered that one of the things that you have to do is ground yourself before you do this meditation with me. I came back and I maintained my connection with that group for several months, and then I went and meditated with one of the biggest groups in the whole world, the Berkeley group, up in San Francisco Bay Area. I went and meditated with them. That's one of the biggest groups in the world. And one of the women, she had been meditating with the group for several years, literally years. And she said, I went and meditated with that group, and then I went back again about a year later or something like that. I don't know how long, 2 years later. And she said that she had gone crazy. Literally, she lost her mind. She had to stop meditating with that group because she just lost it. She just lost her mind. So literally, that's how powerful this meditation is. It's very, very powerful. And I've known at least I've meditated with 2 or 3 other people, and the same thing has happened to them. They literally got crazy. I came back here in Flagstaff. I did this with this guy, and he must have not been doing it right or something, because I did show him how to ground, and he went crazy. And so if you do this meditation with me or with the group, then you're going to want to ground yourself, because I do a mentoring program called the 90-Day Ascension Journey. It's from a mentoring program. I actually have the book out, and if you want a free copy of it on PDF, get a hold of me and I'll send it to you. Because if people can afford it, that's great, and if they can't, then that's fine. But I'll send you a PDF. So anyhow, I wrote the book version of this about
Andrew, I wanted to add a comment here and there. Sasha, do you have a comment? Go ahead.
If I may, in the kind of thing I practice, I find it useful to balance your spiritual self with your earthly self. That is, to have both a spiritual and an earthly side. The spiritual side will always be in your awareness, but as far as your choice maker, your chooser or aware ego, I find it useful to stay grounded. I totally agree with you. Stay grounded, and also allow the spiritual, but do it in harmony with your ecology.
And Sasha, can you share that story of how the meditators lowered the crime rate in the town they came to visit?
Exactly.
Yeah. I think it was Cincinnati. It was an Ohio town, and they drastically reduced the crime rate. But what it's important to do is when you're in touch with your spiritual voice, and you're having a true spiritual experience, it's very important not to be ungrounded. That's what I'm trying to say. That you made a great point, because the spiritual voice is just the spiritual voice. My teacher tells the story about this accountant. New York accountant. She had finally saved up enough money to pay off her mortgage, and she was on the way to pay off the mortgage at the bank. And she hears the voice, and it says, "Go to the bank and get all the money, and go to Atlantic City. And at Atlantic City, put it all on the red." No, I can't do it. And it's the voice. It was a spiritual voice, so she puts it on the red, and she wins. And everybody's betting with her or against her. And finally, she's going to take all these winnings and go home. And one more time, the voice says, double all or nothing, double or nothing. And and it lands not on the red, but on the black. And the spiritual voice says, "Oh shit!" And so there's other things to listen to besides just your spiritual voice. That's it. That's my joke.
Oh, it's his joke.
Well,
I just wanted to.
Go ahead.
I just wanted to add one thing. So I was with a group when I was at Penn State. It was a weekly meditation group, and it said that you're meditating with the White Brotherhood of Light, and I didn't know what that was, but I said fine. But after a year of meditating, and then you were supposed to go home every day, meditate the same time. So I did a year of meditating the same time every day for a whole year. And my daily meditation was 15 minutes, and the weekly one was like, an hour. And after a year, I had a download in a dream state where I remembered about 6 of my past life incarnations, every little detail, up to how I got killed. Yeah. And then I was in an altered state of consciousness for a week, and I had a very good friend that helped me integrate. But meditating is very powerful if you do follow it, and it might be good to have at least a support system like, hey, I am getting this awakening, what's going on? So anyway, back to you, Andrew. That's fascinating.
No, I hear exactly what you're saying, because at will, I can sit down right now, do the great evocation and focus, and you can feel the Christ energy pour through at any given moment. Whenever I want to. So that's the nice thing about that. But years ago, when I was in the Air Force, before any of this happened, what's, why meditation? Why we talk about meditation? Well, this is leading into the 90-day ascension journey, the whole program about becoming enlightened, becoming an ascended person. And so years ago, when I was in the Air Force, I was getting ready to get out of the Air Force back in April 1985, I believe, and I was with these 2 women sitting in the back of my hatchback, my Toyota Corolla, and we were talking, drinking some wine coolers. We weren't drunk. I think maybe at most we had drank 1 wine cooler, and all of a sudden this man, tall, Spaniard-looking, golden hair, brilliant blue eyes. I don't think he had a shirt on. He appears to us. He walks up to us and says, and I want to say he appears to, because I don't even know if he walked, because I don't know how he got there. All I know is he was there. All of a sudden, he says the Christ will appear within 10 years, and then I'm like laughing, and look down and then look up, and he's gone. And later on, I never discussed with these 2 women what it is that they experience, because to this day I don't know. And they were bankers of all things. I mean, that was pretty auspicious, because these 2 women were working in the same bank, right? I used to talk to them all the time. So anyhow, we about 5 years later, back in 1990, I believe, I had somehow came across, with the woman, Alan Winslow, introduced me to this woman out in Dallas, Texas area, and she introduces me to transmission meditation. She introduces me to Maitreya Buddha, and she introduces me to Alice Bailey. I don't know, do you guys know who Alice Bailey is?
She's an author?
An author. All the information she put down in these books was via telepathy. She literally was like a secretary and just transcribed everything on paper. And the person, and it doesn't say who the person is, but a lot of people pretty much know the Tibetan Buddhist. I believe he was Buddhist, but anyhow, this and I don't even know why I can't remember this guy's name, but I always know who he is. But anyhow, he was out of India, I believe. And that's where he was located at, and he was via telepathy giving her all this information to write down in these books. And there's a whole encyclopedia set, or a whole series of books, healing, and psychology 1 and 2, astronomy, all humanity, I don't. I mean, I haven't really dwelled into these books in a while, but because years ago I lost all my stuff. I lost everything, including my van and all my books. Everything went out off the wayside. So anyhow, in these books is all the directions for becoming enlightened. The basic foundation for letting you know where you're at in life and with this process. There's 5 initiations that you take. The first one, you first become a neophyte, and then you take your first initiation demonstrating that you know how to take care of the physical body, and then the second initiation which is also the most difficult initiation to go through, demonstrating that you know how to have emotional balance in your life, and then the third initiation, which is why I recommend people to go to college, because it teaches you how to think. Even if you don't go out and do the stuff that you major in, it doesn't matter. It teaches you how to think, and that's what you want to do. So anyhow, third initiation has to do with the mental capabilities, and then the fourth initiation has to do with transfiguration, and then transformation, and then you become a master, what you call a master. You take your first official initiation for being a master, and then beyond that, there's other initiations where you become an avatar, a logo, and then one with the universe, and so on and so on and on. It goes on. It never ends, right? Even Sai Baba had some karma to resolve when he was here. Do you know who Sai Baba is?
Yes, I do. I've heard of Sai Baba.
I've
seen pictures of Sai Baba.
He's probably the most evolved being on this planet, other than and even Sanat Kumara, who oversees the planet. He used to. I don't know that he does anymore, but Sanat Kumara is a very evolved being. But Sai Baba is considered to be a cosmic Christ, conscious at the universal level, not just local. Local level in your city, or with your family, or with your country, or with your planet, or with your solar system, or with your galaxy. He's considered conscious throughout the universe.
So these are actually, these enlightened masters are actually technically extraterrestrial. Their origin is from off planet.
Absolutely.
So extraterrestrials can be angelic beings, they can be little gray beings, and they can be ascended masters, from my understanding.
Right.
And this is rarely covered in ufology, but I think it's an essential part of what we need to understand.
Absolutely. You're absolutely correct. And that's one of the things that I did do when I was participating in attending the MUFON symposium and some of these MUFON groups. These people think that the extraterrestrials are the only evolved beings that exist, but they still have a lot to learn, but that's besides what. So, but anyhow, and that Maitreya Buddha, again, the same thing. He's an evolved being, but he's he's actually a human being. He is a human being, I'm pretty sure, but he's more evolved along the path than most human beings are.
So Maitreya, you're saying though, didn't come through a womb, didn't enter a fetus and was born like Jesus entered a fetus and was born, and thrice born Hermes entered a fetus and born. Well, he was also a god. So we're looking at these stories, and I don't know what you know and don't know, but anyway, Dr. Lessin, do you have any comments on these ascendant masters and who they are and where they come from in the universe?
Well, there's several things. Susie Hansen and also Stuart Swerdlow talk about. I think it was Assyrians and Andromedans both keep sending part of a cult that's there to help us with our evolution, to try to help us and walk on us. So that's one thing. And then there's all of us that have mixed genes that have been latent till right now, particularly those who have been sent here on a mission of peace, and you know who you are when you're listening to my voice right now, are being activated. This is our time to activate our programs and to really bring the Kalki first, forth. It is time. It's a great year, and it's time to really go. And the Anunnaki are here to help us. And it's feel the fractals within you of the great masters, because they're there just as the great Satans are, and find the balance, the aware ego that stands between them, and let's bring them all into the next level, but not lose any of the lower levels, because we need them all. And hierarchy is part of the problem. You've got it all simultaneously. It's just the way our minds work to think of it as hierarchy, or higher or lower. It's all part of all. That's what I think.
Exactly. So Maitreya Buddha, he overshadowed Jesus when he was here. He literally overshadowed him. And then I believe when Jesus went to India and became a yogi, Jesus and Maitreya were eventually one. And then when he spoke to the people, when he came back and spoke to the people, it was actually Maitreya Buddha who was speaking through him to the people. So now and this lifetime,
wait,
you're
slow
right.
that down. Slow that down a minute. You said that very
That makes
fast.
sense.
But
That makes sense to me.
I'm trying to wrap my head around it. So you're saying that when there's a story that when Jesus walked the earth, he went to India.
Yeah,
and
and
you're saying that Maitreya was there at the same time. Am I getting this correctly?
Yeah,
And
well,
somehow-
Maitreya was per se Jesus' guide, if you want to call it that. And then if you notice, Jesus is called Jesus in the Bible, and then when he comes back from India, he's called Jesus Christ. He's Christed. He's anointed. He's enlightened. He's taken that initiation to allow him to be a master.
Yeah, and what you've got to remember also is that 500 years before the time of Jesus, the Buddha was enlightened and brought the messages forth too.
Exactly, and I'm not saying that he's the only one. One of the main missions for Jesus was to help inaugurate the age of Pisces. He was here to bring forth the teachings as well. As Buddha, as a lot of these other saints are, Saint Germain and all these other beings, but Jesus was also here to initiate the age of Pisces, so our solar system can go forward in the age of Pisces, which is what Maitreya Buddha is here to do as well. Maitreya Buddha, and the reason that he's not born as a regular person is because this body that he's in now is meant to last for at least 2,000 years, 2,100 years. So he'll be here for at least 100 years in that same body. And right now, he flew in. He was in Pakistan, and then he went and got a job, I believe, as a busboy or something like that. Made enough money to get an airplane ticket, and then flew into England, and then that's where he's been since then. As far as I know, he's still there. I don't know. But anyhow, that same body.
So that's Maitreya Buddha is doing. Did I get that right? He's doing work. He's working in a job.
It's part of the karmic evolution type of thing. That type of thing.
Okay.
So it's like a karmic thing, and that allows him to go in and fly. Maybe he wouldn't be able to fly unless he actually paid for the ticket. So and that's the only way. And then he couldn't just pay for the ticket and just get the money. He probably had to earn it or something like that. I don't know all the different things that are involved. So anyhow, going back, I eventually moved to Sedona back in 1995, right exactly around the time when Pluto went into Sagittarius. Literally June 9th, 1995, I moved to Sedona, and I lived there I've lived there for several years. I've lived in Flagstaff for a few years, and then Tucson for a couple years. So at some point, I had tripped off a roof, broke both my heels, and then moved to. I was living in Cottonwood at the time when that happened, and then I went back to Sedona. I lived there. I call them my 2 wives and my 4 kids, because literally I moved into a house with 2 women and 4 kids. Oh my God, that was an experience. But that's besides the point. Anyhow, one of them ended up becoming my girlfriend, and I had two casts on my feet, and one lady, one nurse at the hospital where I was at when I got treated, she says, well, the only time only time I've ever seen this is when a pilot crashed their plane and they broke both their feet or their heels or whatever. And I go, man, I must have lost my plane somewhere. Something happened to my plane. So anyhow, I'm going to school at the time. I'm doing readings because I worked for a number of psychic networks over the years. I'm doing some readings. I have a car. I have a girlfriend, and my girlfriend goes, well, why don't we go to do the tour with Amachi, the Hugging Saint? Again, she's another saint that does a tour every year. In fact, she's probably near the East Coast right now. For those of you that are interested. And so anyhow, I said, because Sai Baba, when I was living right before I moved into that house, Sai Baba had come to me in a dream and invited me more or less to go and visit him in India. And I said, you know, honey, I got enough money to go to India, and I think I'm going to go visit Sai Baba. Oh man, she was pissed. Oh my God, she was pissed. So I quit my girlfriend, quit school, quit my job, sold my car, put everything in storage, and took off. For almost 2 months, I was in India visiting Sai Baba. Now, before I left, I said, you know, Sai Baba, I don't have to go visit you to know who you are. I'm comfortable and feel comfortable with who you are now. And if I go there, I want it to be a reason for that's helpful for you and me and whoever else. So when I got there, they had the first World Youth Conference. And it was, that place was packed with over 65,000 people, literally, there in the ashram at the time. And so, and what happened was I ended up helping to assist direct they put on this like musical type of thing. All the different regions, all the different countries had some kind of skit to perform in front of 20,000 people in Sai Baba. So I helped to basically coordinate these skits and so forth and refine them to an extent. And then we did. And then they put a skit together and they threw me in the works. I go, what? What are you talking about? So I ended up doing a skit, this performance in front of all these 20,000 people in Sai Baba. And whenever you go to visit Sai Baba, you usually either have some kind of dream of him or get to have an interview and literally visit with him. Well, my interview, it took place in the back of the stage of that whole program. We were getting ready to go on, and we were doing the last minute details, and then he comes up in the back of the stage and talks to us. He didn't really talk to me. He just kind of walked by me and talked to some other kids. There was these little boys. You see tears coming down their eyes. I think they were just so amazed to be able to visit with him. And so anyhow, that was my experience with Sai Baba. And there's lots more experiences, but the biggest experience that I had was unbeknownst to me, is that I got initiated. And I don't really tell this to people because it doesn't matter. Being ascended is a conscious state of mind. It's not something you win. It's not something that you know how many people you know is not determined by how many people you know. It's a level of awareness that people have and that allows them to move forward into the next level of evolution, whatever that may be for them. So you do the first, second, third, fourth initiation, and then that's what happened to me. He literally initiated me into the fifth initiation, and while I was there, and literally this whole energy process took place. He was sitting on his throne, on his chair, and he moved his finger. All of a sudden, this ray of energy goes right into my heart, my chest area, and then something went into my third eye area. And as soon as that happened, a lady stood up, and started walking towards Sai Baba. Literally, the security had to take her down and take her out of there because something happened to her. She freaked out or something, and she started walking towards them. So anyhow, we went a few days later. I had to have somebody put lotion on my back because there was like you know how you get sunburnt and your skin starts to peel. There was a big circle on my back just like that, and it burned so bad that I had to have somebody put a lotion on it, and then there's a little spot in the middle of my chest. I had to put some lotion on that because I think he lasered out some cancer or something out of my body and cured me of cancer or something or whatever. That's what I think he did, but that's the point. But anyhow, that was my experience. So years later, I come back and I'm doing my radio show, and then about 3 years ago, I moved back. I was living in Tucson, and I moved back. And a year later, back in 2016, 2017, I think it was 2016, because I was taken to Tucson to write a book, and I never did write the book. I was there about year and a half, never did write the book, and then I came back, and I'm in Flagstaff, and my guidance goes, well, you have 2 weeks to write the book. What are you talking about? That's not enough time. You have 2 weeks to write the book. No way. So, I was working for Uber and Lyft at the time, and, I stopped everything. I didn't go out at all. I mean, I didn't do anything except sit down, but I already knew exactly what I wanted to put in the book. I wrote everything, and I kept writing to the very last minute, literally Friday afternoon. I have a few minutes left, and I finished the book, right? I have about 15 minutes left, and then I jump in my car and start going to Uber again, drive for Uber because I had to go make some money because I was running low on provisions, on money, on everything. And then it took me about a month to learn for me to learn how to format the book for Amazon and also Kindle. So I put them up, and again, they're it's called the 90-Day Ascension Journey. Oh my God! Why did I? And what happened was years ago, I was in an accident. I was on my way to New Mexico for a retreat, a Sai Baba retreat, and all of a sudden, my car these old people rode my car, and they hit me sideswiped and rode my car, and I almost got killed. They flew me into Flagstaff Medical Center, and it was really really pathetic because they refused to give me any treatment at all because I didn't have any insurance. I was going to school at the time, and they just gave me 2 aspirin and said, we'll see you later, bye, and told me to go home. So that was really out of there. So anyhow, I wrote this book called The 90-Day Ascension Journey, Engineer and Design Your Life the Way You Want It to Be. And basically, there's about 9 schools of thought, including the 5 initiations from that Benjamin Creme or Alex Bailey writes about, Benjamin Creme's works. There's the teachings of Sai Baba of educating the 5 guidelines to good, healthy relationships. Oh my God, I'm forgetting everything. Truth, nonviolence, right conduct, peace, love, and then there's other stuff in there that I have in there that teaches people the foundation, the basics, the training it takes to become an ascended master or a master or a saint. A saint is the difference between a master and a saint is a master has evolved and mastered and usually when you take an initiation, there's at least 2 or 3 different masters or beings there to assist you through that process, and even for the first initiation. And then again, Sai Baba was there, and probably Maitreya Buddha was the other being there that was there for my 5th initiation. And so this book teaches you how to do everything that you need to do, and so you can literally become a master, an ascended master in this lifetime. And again, the difference between a master and a saint is a master has done the 5 initiations. A saint has done 3 miracles that have been recognized by the public, and that's what makes a saint a saint. But that's besides the point. Any questions?
Okay. Yes. Okay. Sasha, first you.
Yeah, I do find it interesting if you think of the universe as being fractal. so that every molecule is resonant in every other molecule, and then to think about the saint or the avatar or the spiritual master that you Kuan Yin or Jesus or whatever, or however you conceive it, or it could be the mountain, which is how you symbol God, but however that is, to let yourself walk into the consciousness, remote view from the consciousness of that spiritual master, or however you conceive that, and get that at least as much as you can experientially. That's you. That's in you too.
Got it.
Yeah. I wanted to ask about this ascended master. So you're saying that someone can say, I want to become an ascended master, and they set that intention, and they can go on a path, and they can become an ascended master. Is that what you're saying? Am I getting that right?
I'm saying that it takes lifetimes,
lifetimes, okay,
thousands of lifetimes to get to where I'm at now. For anybody to get to where they're at now on this planet right here, right now, it takes hundreds and thousands of lifetimes. Now,
that's what I've heard, that we are, anybody that's alive here on this planet has had hundreds of incarnations. So all of us that are on this planet alive, and we have incarnations on other worlds. We're not limited to this world.
Exactly. It just depends on most, or I'm assuming most, but a lot of people have been on planet Earth for years, for several lifetimes, and it's my understanding that after this lifetime, when I pass on, I won't be here anymore, and I'll be going to probably another solar system, maybe another planet, but I won't be living on this planet anymore. So I'm doing as much as I can before I move on, so I can get as much accomplished as I can before I transcend from this body.
So how do you know that you arrived? How do you know that your karma is fulfilled and that you reached that level? Was there some kind of indicators?
Karma is never, ever completely 100% filled. Even Sai Baba, who I understand is the most evolved being on this planet, is still got karma to resolve. So it may only be a little bit, but he's still resolving karma. Karma is an ongoing energy type of thing, So it's like that. So I understand we only got a few more minutes. We're going
to be on a break, and then we come back for a second hour. So we go to the break at 56 before the hour. So go ahead.
Yeah. I'd just like to say that, in terms of karma, St. Irving said something like, you get back your meat as you measure. You cannot do wrong and feel right. Karma is instant. When you disregard somebody else's consciousness, you hurt yourself right immediately because you are them.
Well, that was like that bike rider that threw something at you and then he got killed. That was instant karma.
Yeah, Alan Winslow. And, so this is what I want to say about that, is that not necessarily, it used to be that karma sometimes took years or maybe other lifetimes before it got cleared up. But in this day and age, right here, right now, where we're now, people are finding that karma is pretty instant, just like you said. That they go out and lash out at somebody, or something happens, and then literally the next day, or even that same day, it kind of comes right back to them. So with the energies the way they're going right now, you're absolutely correct. Karma is pretty instant for a lot of people, for the most part. I believe you're correct.
And so when you pass from here, where will you go? We have like 2 minutes before the break.
I don't know, but I from what I understand, I believe I'm from the solar system Sirius. I may go back to there, which is like what I think is going to happen, but I don't know. I'm not clear. I do know that in years and years and years, hundreds of thousands of years from now, I'm going to be upholding the sun in the golden age solar system, I believe it's called. And I'll be along with millions, probably billions of other beings are going to be upholding the sun, and that's what you call a Mahatma. a Mahatma is several beings coming together and forming one voice. And so when I write, a lot of people don't understand when I write a lot of stuff and I say we, I'm talking about the Mahatma of Andrew Aloha. I no longer operate as an individual for me, myself, and I, but for a whole group of people, with a whole group of people.
Fascinating. So, I was going to ask something I forgot. So, you have a question before we go to the break, honey?
And so,
what you mean about a Mahatma? And my colleague Chris Hardy says she can feel different groups of people. How far does their coherent field extend as they meditate together? It's palpable.
When we come back, I'll talk to you about the tribe and the claw, and we can go into that if you want. Excellent. Sounds great. So we should have our music any second now, but when we come back, we'll talk about that. There's a lot to cover with Andrew. He's a very knowledgeable person, very wise. Go look on AquarianRadio.com, and we'll come back and explore more about Andrew Aloha. And so, where's our
when you hear a story of a painter like Andrew, it's like we're all pilgrims, and he's sharing his pilgrimage, and we get to go with you, Andrew. Thank you so much.
Radio at freedomslips.com. We'll be right back after this message.
Syndicalist commune. We take it in turns to act as a sort of executive officer for the week. Yes. But all the decisions of that officer have to be ratified at a special bi-weekly meeting. Yes, I see. By a civil majority in the case of purely internal affairs. Be quiet. But by a 2/3 majority in the case of more... Be quiet. I order you to be quiet. Look, you stupid bastard, you've got no arms left. Yes, I have. Look! It's just a flesh wound. I don't believe I've seen such a display of courage, skill, nerve, grace, and stupidity. I'll do you for that. Oh, what? Come here. What are you going to do, bleed on me? I'm invincible. You're a loony. The Black Knight always triumphs.
Roundtable Live, Monday through Friday, 1 a.m. till 4 a.m. Eastern Time. Bring your mind, bring your ideas, bring your voice. King Arthur had nothing on us here at Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com.
Enjoy your extra big-ass fries.
You didn't give me no fries. I got an empty box.
Would you like another?
Extra big-ass fries. I said I didn't get any.
Thank you. Your account has been charged. Your balance is 0. Please come back when you can afford to make a purchase.
No.
I'm sorry you're having
trouble.
Come
on. My kids are starving.
Thank you for tuning in to Revolution Radio. Here at Revolution Radio, we believe in freedom of ideas, freedom of speech, but above all, we believe in freedom of existence through self-reliance. This station is 100% listener supported, and as a fundraising promotion, I have a kick-ass free gift for a $100 donation. 35,000 seeds. 25 years in the freezer. Long-term storable, 54 different varieties. So if food prices go crazy, the shit hits the fan, or if you just want to save tons of money every year by creating your own food like I do, grab our seed pack special. Just look for the banner on the homepage at freedomslips.com. Don't be a statistic. Don't be part of the problem. be part of the solution. We need, as humans, to start taking care of ourselves and not depending on the megacorps to provide unhealthy, nasty food. Included in this package is also a DVD with 900 survival and off-grid living documents and the offline home canning how to do everything website all on the DVD. So when you're growing all that food, you know how to can it, store it, preserve it, etc. with all these documents. So thank you for tuning in to Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com. I hope that you will pick up this package and start learning to be free. Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com, where information never sleeps and freedom is one seed that needs to be planted.
What we do in life, it goes in eternity.
Thanks for tuning in to Revolution Radio. Here at Revolution Radio, we are listener-sponsored and commercial-free. But there still are bills to pay. In order to raise some needed funds to cover the cost, our station is offering a silver special. In the continental United States for a $60 donation, or in Alaska, Hawaii, or Canada for a $70 donation, we will send you an uncirculated 2018 1-ounce pure silver eagle. The $70 donation, the extra 10 is to cover shipping, by the way, outside of the continental United States. When making the donation, you must put Silver Eagle promo in the notes on the donation. And thank you for tuning in to Revolution Radio at revolution.radio and freedomslips.com. Without you, there is no us. Revolution Radio, where information never sleeps.
It happens more often than we can imagine. In my case, I was sitting at home, and out of nowhere, I just started feeling uncomfortable. Then it got worse, and I started perspiring. I tried to ignore it, but I waited too long. The chest pain came as we were driving to the hospital emergency. I felt my life clock begin to tick. I barely survived. There was lots of damage done to my heart. What do I do now? I was lucky. I took a leap of faith and tried a 7-herb formula with hawthorn, garlic, cayenne, and more called Extendivite. Herbs have been used for thousands of years to keep us healthy. If you're not using Extendivite as a preventative supplement, maybe it's time to start. To order, call 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendivite.
The opinions expressed on this radio station, its programs, and its website by the hosts, guests, and call-in listeners or chatters are solely the opinions of the original source who expressed them. They do not necessarily represent the opinions of Revolution Radio and freedomslips.com, its staff, or affiliates. You're listening to Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com, 100% listener-supported radio, and now we return you to your host.
You should be live again.
Aloha, and welcome back to the Sacred Matrix, and I'm your host, Janet Care Lessin. Oh, if you're not speaking, can you mute your mic so we don't get a lot of feedback? Okay, that'll sound. There we go. Welcome back to the Sacred Matrix. I'm your host, Janet Care Lessin, with Dr. Sasha Lessin, and we're on Revolution Radio, Studio B. Our producer is Thomas Becker, and our guest is Andrew Aloha. Before we get back to our show, I'd like to remind everybody to please go over to that donation button on revolution.radio and make your donation. And we really need the money, so please. And I don't know, Thomas Becker, are you able to give us an accounting of where we are in the fundraising? Or at least an idea?
We still need $1,780 still, and it's halfway through the month. We really need some donations.
So please, everybody, come in from outside and stop playing in the sun. And donate. Please donate. And I am getting that feedback, so maybe if you want to turn down
It's coming through, Andrew.
Andrew, if you can turn down your mic just a little bit, we won't get that feedback noise. Okay, so Dr. Sasha, are you there?
I'm here, yes, and I noticed from Andrew, from your description, that you use one of the ways to create a coherent field or to transcend the mundane and this illusion of separateness is in Tantra, and that's a path that Janet and I have taken too. So I'd really like to hear how you use Tantra as meditation.
Actually, if you go to my book, to the 90-Day Ascension Journey, I cover Tantra. It's not a lengthy section, but I do have a covered Tantra, and mostly it's like ascension. And I was going to make that comparison earlier, but I forgot to. But Tantra is exactly like ascension. Ascension is not something that happens and then you're there forever and ever. Amen. It's like, sometimes you wake up in the morning and you're feeling great, and sometimes you wake up in the morning and if you're a saint, you're feeling great, but that's besides the point. And then other times you wake up in the morning and you're feeling groggy or annoyed or angry or whatever. But Tantra, just like ascension, is a way of life. You do the 5 spiritual practices: meditation, prayer, reading spiritual inspirational works, listening to spiritual inspirational music, and then you do service. And Tantra, to me, is the same in the sense of speaking. Before you start a session, or when you do a session, you do meditation. There's all kinds of different techniques for doing Tantra, but you can do meditation, you can do prayer, you can do the calling in of the 4 winds. And then you explore it. It's an exploratory, it's an experiential type of a program where you go in and you create a safe place to experience different lovemaking techniques or sexuality techniques or whatever, different types of experiences. And so you go in and you can bring in different energies, happiness, joy, pleasure, and then you can take out different energies. You create this bubble of energy, a bubble of space with you and your partner, or the whole building, or whatever. And then you take out different energies like anger, hate, violence, or whatever. And then you can bring in different energies, and then you can do different breathing techniques. Now, the biggest thing about Tantra, it's a form of sharing. When you create this space, you create, and that's what ascension is all about. You're maintaining an energy of presence. You're being present with your lover, your partner, and just like ascension, you're being present with whatever is going on with whoever you're with, and so forth. So being present is one of the key factors and foundations of being ascended and doing proper Tantra techniques, if you ask me. So anyhow, you share, and then you do all these different practices. You do icebreakers, you do touch, you do energy breathing. All kinds of stuff that you can do. There's all kinds of different energies, and in each session is different. And each person is different, depending on what your social lifestyle is. And once you get through all that, and then once you're ready, you can do magic, you can do sex magic, and do manifestations of money and all kinds of stuff, or clearings of negativity, of poverty, or whatever. And so once you get ready to culminate the process, now another big step is that people, and I know very few people in the tantric arenas that actually do this. They don't even know about this, a lot of them, because I don't believe for a second that a lot of these groups are even doing proper tantra techniques, but that's besides the point. That's my opinion. But anyhow, once you get ready to culminate the whole experience, and the male enters the female with their lingam into the yoni, then what the male does, and see this, and this is part of our society that's going on. A lot of our society, the males are used to imposing their energies, their lingam, onto the females, or even other males, or whatever. But they're used to dominating and overpowering their partner, and thrusting their lingam into the female. But then again, a lot of the females they adhere to that. They compromise themselves to that. So, but in the true form of sharing, the energy flows, and what the male does is allow the energy to flow from their heart through their body and through their lingam and into the yoni, where they're impregnating, if you want to call it that, the female. And so the energies are, and the female acts, their energies are like a vessel, like a vase, and they're kind of like a vacuum cleaner. Their energies, they surrender to that energy if it's properly done, and they allow the energies to flow through to them, and allow it to penetrate every atom, cell, and molecule of their body. So by the time it's all done and said, they're both the partners are completely filled and fulfilling each other with this energy of whatever it is that they were working with, manifestation or clearing or just Christ energies or whatever energies they're working with. They completely just what's the word? They overflow them. They allow the energies to overflow. Because I've done this with one of my partners, and if you ever felt like afterwards, after your orgasms, depending on what's going on, like you were tired afterwards. Have you ever felt that way at all, Janet and Dr. Sasha?
I practice Tantra, so no, I usually feel rejuvenated.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So if you've ever felt tired and just drained, that means you're stealing the energies from each other. You're not sharing each other's energies with each other. You're literally using I don't know if violence is a good word, but something like violence or negative energies to dominate each other, and that's not healthy. But when you feel,
no, listen, the way you just described it is so utterly beautiful. I recommend that people save the MP3 for this, because just listen to what Andrew said. That is so gorgeous. Let yourself do exactly what he suggested. Thank you. I loved it.
And again, if you feel rejuvenated and enlightened, you feel Christed, you feel like all this energy. You know, me and my partner just sat up and just talked for about 2 hours, and finally we got tired and finally went to sleep. But it's like that. If you're doing, that's how you know you're having proper sex. Period. And you don't even have to call it tantra. But if whenever you're done with sex, if you feel incredibly invigorated, then you're right on target. But that's besides the point. So anyhow, any other questions before I go on?
Yeah, if somebody is just coming and going, so to speak, they just fall asleep, what do you recommend they do differently?
Again, even changing your diet, the way you eat, can make a difference. Doing meditation, doing prayer can make a difference. Listening to spiritual, inspirational music can make the difference. Doing some kind of service, going out and feeding the homeless or whatever could be enough to make the difference. I mean, there's all kinds of practices out there that you can do.
Yeah, let me just say that one of the most important things, one of the very most important things, is even if you have ejaculated, dudes, sit up. Sit up, then you won't fall asleep. You owe it to her. Sit up.
Well, have a conversation.
Right. But I mean, again, there's all kinds of stuff that you can do that will allow you to do proper, healthy sex. Period. Right?
Yes. Excellent.
So
okay,
now,
so go ahead. What else do you want to talk about? Are you complete?
I want to go back.
I'd like to just stay focused on that if for a little bit, because I'm fascinated by what you've written about relationships. Because from the perspective of psychology, from my perspective, relationships are where you can really learn about yourself better than almost any place else. Because the things that annoy you or you overly admire in your partner is the very things that you need to come to grips with in your own self, and you teach that to each other. And as you become aware and observe your patterns, and you reflect on them with your partner, you transcend. It's wonderful what a relationship can do for your ascendance.
Well, so now, if you want to get the gist of what I understand Tantra to be, again, go get my book. Go to my website, Spiritual Productions, or Amazon. You can get it on Amazon. You can get it on Kindle for 99 cents. I mean, it's like not even a amount for a coffee. But and then if you want to learn different techniques, there's a few techniques in the book that I've written. But there's all kinds of other books out there that show you different techniques to practice that will help you and allow you to feel this invigoration once you're done with sex. So, I want to go ahead.
Well, yeah, we wanted to talk about, I guess, relationships. But what do you want to cover in this next hour? So we make sure we get to them all. Because you were helping people in their relationships, right? When you did your counseling.
Yeah.
So so you were helping people with career, money, clarity, relationships, twin flame, soulmates, et cetera, et cetera. So I guess what you're asking, Sasha, what are you asking Andrew to elaborate more on in regards to relationship?
Whatever, this is your Reader's Digest summary of everything Andrew knows about relationships. If he was just going to tell you a few things, this is what he learned.
Well, what I want to talk about is where I am now, and where I'm planning on being in the future. Now,
okay, go for that.
So, again, what I want to tell people is that I've worked for a number of psychic networks, and I give a lot of people come on and they ask, "Whoa, what about my lover and she's cheating on me or he's cheating on me? What do I do about that?" They're so hung up in the mundane, in the 3D, that it's annoying for me to even do readings, because they talk about stuff that's so selfish and so 3D. It's just obnoxious. And I like to work with people that want to develop, that want to be empowered, that want to take control over their lives, no matter who is in that life, and get a hold of themselves and move on into what their destiny is all about. And one of the things that I've discovered is that a lot of people, well, first of all, people look for their soulmates. They're always looking for their soulmates or their twin flame. Well, I think that the twin flame and the soulmate are the same, except the twin flame is a little bit is a deeper rooted relationship than a soulmate is. So this is my understanding, is that there's 144 people, or maybe 144,000 people. I'm not 100% sure, but they come from the same, what you call oversoul, or same logo, if you want to call it that. And then beyond that, connected to that logo or oversoul is several different oversouls, and then connected to those oversouls is 12 different souls. Now, a twin flame belongs to that same oversoul. You're another partner of yours is from that same oversoul. You're one of those 12 souls, and you connect with each other. That to me is what I call a twin flame. And so,
yes,
Go ahead.
Let me just that is that I found that dogs have twin flames too, and they found like they sniff each other out to find out if they're part of the if they got exchanged. Anyway, go on with you.
Well, anyhow, if you want to go there, but now that's a good point, Dr. Sasha, is that the difference between animals and the difference between animals and humans is that animals share one soul, what you call oversoul again. All the horses may share a soul, all the dogs, all the wolves may share a soul, and whereas humans have their own soul, and individual soul, and that's what differentiates the human kingdom from the animal kingdom. And further down the road, when we become more evolved, then the human kingdom are going to be like the saints are to us now. Jesus and Maitreya Buddha, we're going to be their guides, these animals' guides, and we're going to be helping them evolve into more human-like beings, if you want to call it that. Except they'll be called something different, probably. I don't know what animal beings. I don't know what they'll be called, but anyhow, we'll be working with them to help them evolve into their first, second, third, fourth, second years.
Beautiful. I really like that. I like that. I apologize for I really like what you said. And that accounts for it. If they have like one soul they share like that, and that makes so much sense.
So now, what cracks me up about the readings that I used to do is that all these people are there looking for their soulmate, their twin flame. And you know what's funny is that they first of all, there's usually about 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 soulmates on the planet, usually at the same time that you are, and you may only run into 1 or 2 or 3 of them. A lot of times they are family members, I believe, and these people are looking for their soulmates, and when they do run into them, they can't get along with each other. So who cares if you find your soulmate if you can't even get along? What difference does it make? It's not even healthy. So I tell people to find somebody that's just right for them, that's just perfect for them, that for this lifetime, so that they can have somebody to get along with, have somebody to share with, somebody to do service with, and just live and breathe and be with. So and a lot of them get kind of pissed off because, I want my soulmate, and they're disappointed. But when you look at it, later on they'll probably be happy they found somebody that's perfect for them, instead of just their soulmate or not their soulmate at all. So anyhow, further down the road, and Gandhi used to say this, that a Mahatma, I believe he said said this himself, is that a Mahatma is several different beings coming together to form one voice. Well, Andrew Aloha is I believe is a Mahatma. That's what I understand. And so when I converse and communicate with people, I'm communicating and conversing with them as a whole, as all these beings come together. And these beings are a lot of times are probably usually all your ancestors and family that came before you came to be being who you are now. So they're all your ancestors and your family and so forth that a lot of them are already gone, and some of them are still here, but they're usually all these beings that have gone forth before you to allow you to be where you're at now. So people should really, really, really be grateful that they're in this body right here, right now, because that was because not because they it was their right or they had to be, but it was because they were allowed to be, just like in Tantra, you allow the energy to go from your body through you into your partner. So it's just exactly like that. So anyhow, what other questions do you have going on?
Oh, just right on. That is the blessing. Just every precious breath, every precious day is a gift. Dig it.
Right, exactly. Janet?
Janet? Are you there, Janet?
Wait, my microphone was muted because I didn't want any noises interrupting the show. Okay, so you're going by the name Andrew Aloha. Were you born with a different name, or was that your birth name?
No, that's not my birthday. That's my stage name. And
that's
so,
your stage name.
I went. Well, years ago, I'll tell you about that. Years ago, I went to to visit a friend of mine in California. She goes, "Oh, I just got back from Hawaii." She goes, I said, "Oh, really?" She goes, "Yeah, and I just got this message. You got to go to Hawaii." What? What are you talking about? Yeah, you got to go to Hawaii. I said, "Oh, whatever." So anyhow, all of a sudden, all the stuff about Hawaii starts coming up. License plates, commercials, all this stuff. And I said, finally, about 2 weeks later, I said, "Okay, fine, I'll go. I'll go to Hawaii." And I called her up and I said, "Well, where do I got to go?" She goes, "Yeah, go to Kauai and see what happens." I said, "Okay." So I did. I flew out to Kauai. I managed to get, I don't know how I did it, but I managed to get some money and flew out to Kauai. And I was there for about a week. And then I stayed at a hostel. And then at the very last day, I went, I called her up and I said, "This is not working. I'm going back to California. Forget this." She goes, "No. Go to Maui. I have a friend there that will help you, and you can go talk to her." I said, "Okay, fine." So the very last day, I actually slept on the beach, right, on this tarp, and next to me there was a whole group of people, right, and so I wake up the next morning, like early in the morning, and this guy goes, I'm famous throughout the island. But he didn't tell me, which I figured out later, that he was a drug lord. He's a famous drug lord. Well, yeah, I want to be around that. I'm out of here. So I did. I split and I flew to Maui, and I ended up staying there for about 7.5 months. I got to do everything you did there, and you could do there: snorkeling trips, bicycling trips, dinner cruises, helicopter rides, luau's. I mean, parasailing. Ate all the nice restaurants. Gained about 50, 60 pounds. And I said, "Yeah, it's time for me to get out of here. There's too much water. Forget this. I'm out of here." But before I left, about 3 or 4 days before I left, I hear this. I'm living in this kind of like a hostel place. Not like hostel like violent, but a youth hostel type of thing. And so I'm sleeping, and I wake up in the morning around 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. I hear this really loud in my mind. What the hell was that? I go, man, I'm going to go do a tour and see what that was. So I did. I walked down the street. I was walking on the sidewalk, and before I left California, before I left my friend in California, she goes, "Well, you got to go reclaim your heritage to the elite." Apparently, I used to be part of the royalty, the elite that used to live there years and years ago in another lifetime. And so at that point, I hadn't really, thought about it much, and I didn't really believe it or disbelieve it. It was just a comment, and that was it, right? So I was walking down the street, and all of a sudden, there's like this huge presence in my energy field, right? I could feel this big spirit, this big ball of spirit, a large spirit. And I said, "Who are you?" He says, "Kapanali." I said, "How tall are you?" He says, 7'1". I said, "Oh, really?" And that was about the extent of my conversation with this other person that I used to be in this other lifetime, right? And so then I walked down to the pier and did a submarine ride, and come to find out there was 2 whales, baby whales, that were going from the from Molokai to the Big Island, and one of them was one of the ones that woke me up. So somehow something or another, I had a connection. I had this connection with whales, or with this whale, or I don't know what the deal was. But anyhow, I came back and I grabbed my van. I had a van at the time, and I went and did a meditation. I went to Amachi, the Hugging Saint. Do you know who that is?
Yes. I
went to her ashram in San Ramon, and I did a meditation. And the people there, the devotees there, they go, "Well, what are you doing?" I go, "Well, I'm just going to do a meditation and see what I have to, what's going on, and then I'm going to leave." They go, "Okay." So I did a meditation for about an hour, and all of a sudden they came back and they go, "Well, why don't you just stay here and do some service, and you could stay here and eat and do whatever, and then do the tour with Amachi the Hugging Thing. I said, okay, so that's what I did. I stayed there, and every week, me and this woman would drive out to all over the city, all over the place, and sometimes we only had arrangements to pick up a few things, and sometimes we had arrangements to pick up a bunch of stuff. But no matter what the situation was, we'd go out, and that truck was full, a 20-foot truck, completely full of stuff all the time, of used medical equipment that would be sent out to her ashram in India, where there was a hospital that gave free services to everyone. So I figured we killed, in the time that I was there, 3.5 months or so that I was there, we probably collected about $520,000 worth of used equipment, at least. So that's what I did the whole time I was there. And then I did the whole tour with Amachi the Hugging Saint and all her people, from Washington to the other side of the country, to New York. Where did we finish up at? Chicago. I can't remember. But anyhow, we went all across the country, and that's when Spiritual Image Productions was born. When I was on that tour, I was talking to this lady, her and I, from the Wesak Festival, and we talked about the Wesak Festival, and we could talk about that later. But anyhow, when I was at the Wesak Festival, her and I talked, and so her and I are talking. I go, man, I'm going to do a production company, a video production company, and I need to have a name for it. And she goes, so we got to talking, and prior to, I had already had another company called DivineImages.org. It was a website basically, and where I took photographs of spiritual events all over the country, all over the world, literally. And I had like over 2,100 photographs of all these events, all from all over the world on that website. And so then Spiritual Image Productions was born, and then afterwards, I went all over California, and then I ended up finally coming back here to Flagstaff, and that's where I launched my company at. I put together the logo, the business cards, the website, and all that stuff, and then just kept going from there. And so anyhow, and then the Wesak Festival was a festival that Joshua David Stone used to do. He did a whole encyclopedia set to spirituality. He wrote all this, and then he passed away back in 2005, the same year that my dad passed away. So the last year that I did that, when I came back from India, back in 1997, I went to my first Wesak Festival. I think it was only done like 10 years in a row at that time. And so I photographed the whole thing. And I gave copies of all these photographs to Joshua David Stone and his people, and they go, he goes, well, the masters want you to become the official photographer for the Wesak Festival. I said, okay, fine. So that only got me a free ticket into the Wesak Festival, and that was it. So everything else I paid out of my own pocket, right? So every year for several years in a row, I photographed the Wesak Festival, and then 2003, I put together the video production company aspect of it, and then I didn't photograph it that year. I video shot it, and I had a whole bunch of mix-up there, so I didn't get very much.
What is the Wesak? What is that festival? Tell us what that is.
Wesak Festival.
Where is it?
It's not a where. It's a what. It's the Buddha's birthday. It's the day that Buddha was born, and the day that he died, and also the day that he became enlightened. Literally, he physically comes from wherever he's at in the solar system or the galaxy or whatever, and every full moon in Taurus, I believe, which is usually around May, sometimes April, and sometimes there's two of them. Every once in a while, a blue moon, there's two of them. But he'll come and he'll go to the Himalayan mountains in India, literally physically go there, pass down his blessings to all his devotees, and then from there, their devotees, his devotees pass those on to the rest of the world. So it's like that, and it's probably the most spiritual, the energetic day of the year, literally. But it lasts about 6 days. But the very Wesak Festival day, the very day of it, it's the most powerful of the whole year. But
and it tends not to be. It's not in the United States. You're saying?
No, it's actually people all over the world celebrate it, mostly Buddhists, but not just Buddhists celebrate it. All kinds of people, including this group from the Reset Festival in Mount Shasta, that was produced by Joshua David Stone. And there used to be like over 2,000 people from all over the world that would attend this for several years in a row, literally. And so half of them were from the United States, and the rest of the half was from everywhere else in the world. That's how big this thing, how international this thing was. So it was pretty profound. And then again, 2003, Joshua David Stone attended it, and so did I, and that was the last time that him and I attended it. And then 2 years later, he passed away. And so since then, that WESAC festival has dwindled down to maybe 200 people, 250 people, I don't know, maybe even 50 people, I don't know. And it's now in Mount Shasta instead of Weed, California. It used to be in Weed, California.
Weed.
Yeah. Yeah, that was, and that's where another school of thought that I introduced in my book, in the book 90 Day Essential Journey. That's where I talk about what's it called? Joshua David Stone in his books talks about a particular type of book of meditation that you do, where you go to the different sacred spots and go to their energy fields, and then imbibe those energies, and then come back. But you put yourself in a like a Merkaba bubble, and then you go to the ascended seat of Saint Germain, or the ascended seat of Helios, or the ascended seat of whatever being or sacred spot there is, and then you just meditate there and you just imbibe the energies and then come back. So that can be very powerful as well.
So I heard that on sacred days, on sacred spots and sacred ley lines, if we would all, meditate the right time, place, we could change us into the positive timeline. Apparently, this was Stuart Scordo, I think I heard it from, or Peter Moon, that the
August 12th.
Besides, August 12th. That's one of the primary days, but there's other days. But they've hijacked us into the negative timeline by doing the satanic rituals on these sacred spots, sacred spaces. What are your thoughts on that, Andrew? Is there a way for us to get us into a positive timeline by?
Again, it's not about positive and negative in the sense of speaking. It's about being present, and people don't understand that the negative, the Satan stuff, is all for the reason of change. If the negative wasn't there, everything would be the same, at the same time, same place, same thing, all the time, forever and ever. Amen. And we would probably be boring people, right? So if negative wasn't there, then we wouldn't have changes. We wouldn't evolve. We wouldn't develop. We wouldn't continue forward on and on and again, forever and ever. And so it's more about being present. Sometimes when you do tantra, a lot of tantra practitioners get into S&M. They have to slap each other. They have to dominate each other because that negative, they have to process that negative energy, and they have to filter through and filter out so that they can move on and move forward and evolve. So it's like that. Does that make sense to you?
Yes.
So again, I've had experiences with the dark forces, and they can be pretty powerful too. But you have to respect them and honor them because they do what they do really well. They destroy a whole country, and they do that really well. And it's just nature that's coming in and doing it, right? The military goes, oh yeah, we can destroy all this, but nature comes in and doesn't even think about it, and she just slaps people around like no tomorrow, right? Including those. So it's like that. So again, being centered, being focused is the biggest thing. Now, what I want to talk about right now. Go ahead.
I just think it's the challenge underneath what you're calling negative is what does the supposed negative force really need. Underneath anger, for example, is the need for love and affection, or perhaps effective action in the person's ecology. And so that if we embrace what we're calling the negative for what its inner needs are, I think we can find a place where we can center ourselves so that the negative and positive is merely just, like you say, Andrew, an interesting field in which to play.
And just a balance, all it is. And, it's not even about changing anger or changing guilt. It's about accepting it, embracing it, inviting it, breathing it in, and letting it go, so that it can change you, right? And you don't change, go around changing anger. You change with how your perception is of it, right?
Yes. So when somebody's angry, you can just say, tell me what you really need. What's making you feel that way? What's the bottom need that you have right now? And I can address that. Go underneath the anger. What do you need?
Yeah, exactly. So, where I'm at right now, is I'm in Flagstaff. I've been taking a breather. I think a lot of people have gone through a lot of, health issues over the years, especially, and I'm not saying especially, but a lot of enlightened people. And about 2.5 years ago, I got sick with pneumonia and the flu and was in a hospital for 3 weeks. So I was in ICU for 2 weeks, 1 week, one of those weeks, and then 2 weeks in the hospital. So I've been recovering from that and, working on getting back on the horse again. And so one of the things that I've done in the process is become a Reiki master, and I've also been certified to be a hypnotherapist. So what I'm interested in doing is and working on doing is doing a hypnosis comedy show, right? About enlightenment, about UFOs, about aliens. I think it'll be really interesting. I think it'll be funny as hell, right? And
I think that's a great idea. Absolutely. I saw Kamala Devi and her troupe do that for our social group, and it really works. Entertainment. I love what you're saying.
Right. And then I want to do like a whole healing program. It's meant to be a whole weekend affair. And again, on Friday come in, maybe do a healing program. Saturday do the comedy. Saturday evening do a comedy show. Maybe do some more healing, and then do some kind of a music show, a cappella group or something like that. And then Sunday do like a whole meditation group, transmission meditation group where people can plug in, from all over the world. Now, years ago, when I was in Sedona, and this is part of a different program that I'm also working on, and that's behind the scenes. And apparently, I used to be an Essene. Do you know what an Essene is?
Yes. Explain to our listeners what the Essene is.
A scene is like a monk or preacher or teacher or whatever that used to that did a lot of behind the scenes initiations and spiritual energy and work and service before Jesus came in, to prepare the way for Jesus to come in years and years ago, like before the BC stuff. I mean the AD stuff. So anyhow, apparently I was one of them, and I helped prepare the way for Jesus, and which gives me experience of doing that already. So what's happening now is years ago I was sitting there doing a meditation, and all of a sudden I feel this big heavy, well not heavy, but just a big energy right behind me, and I said, "Who are you?" He says, "Spirit of the age of Aquarius." I've never heard that phrase ever in my life prior to, and I said, I said, okay. So I've been working with or dealing with or experiencing this person, this being, this energy for all these years since then. Well, a few years ago, I was doing one of the shows that I used to do on Blog Talk Radio was a channeling show. I bring on these channelers. Well, I brought on this guy, and before I brought him on, I felt there was this energy behind me, and I said, "Who are you?" And he says, "Prema Baba." Now, if you know anything about Sai Baba, he used to be another being called, oh man, what's his name? Anyhow, he used to be this other, I don't know why I can't remember this, but anyway, he was this other being, and he came in, to start to prepare the way for his teachings and everything else. Well, then he passed on, and he came back as such a Sai Baba, which is such is truth, and the truth is the way or something like that. I can't remember, but anyhow. And then he passed away again a few years ago, and now he's going to come in as for one final incarnation called, and his name is going to be Prema Baba. So I expect that he will be born at 2025. And if you read the Alice Bailey work, you'll find that the 2025, she doesn't actually say exactly what year, but she talks about the golden age, which will start in 2025 when we go finally transfer our energies, the solar system energies, from the age of Pisces to the ages of Aquarius. We're not 100% in the age of Aquarius yet, and we won't be till 2025 is what I guesstimate. And so, and at that same time, we're also going to be completely in the age of Aquarius. I mean, in the golden age, when things are going to start to mellow out, and it'll be like back in the 1700s when they were, all these people were just having a gay old time with all this stuff and just having fun because, we weren't being attacked by the dark forces anymore. And that's what's going to happen pretty soon. So the dark forces are finally going to leave us alone and let us do our due. And right now they're trying their damnness to really throw us off focus and really screw with us, right? So
what makes you think 2025? What's behind?
Because I calculated it from the readings of Alice Bailey. I think Esoteric Healing 1. I think she talks about this, and if you go back and calculate it, I calculated that in 2025 we're officially going to be completely in the age of Aquarius, 100%, and we're also going to be going into the golden age or in the golden age. And again, Maitreya Buddha is going to be here with us through all this time, or on this planet through all this time, for 2,000 years, right? So that body that he's in now is meant to be here, alive and kicking till then. So, and that's probably when we're going to have our third world war. Won't be till the end of this golden age of the age of Aquarius. It takes 2,100 years for us to go from one sign to the next. So anyhow.
So when are we going to have the third world war? Before?
Not till the end of the golden age. Not till the end of the age of Aquarius, which won't be another 2,000 years from now. At least.
So it's not going to be anytime soon. Good. Maybe I'll be on another planet by then.
Oh yeah, we're going to be long gone by then. But that's exactly what. So anyhow, I know we got only a few more minutes, but
we have about 10 minutes. So what else did you want to cover?
I just want to finish this
sure,
part
go ahead.
out. I'm talking this to the age of Prema Baba. I mean, to the spirit of Prema Baba. He comes to me, and I say, well, what do you want from me? And what he told me or said to me, or I understood, was that he wants me to help prepare, again, the same thing that I did for Jesus. He wants me to help prepare for the way for him to be born in 2025. So that's why I want to do this traveling show with all this stuff, so that he can come forward and be born in 2025. And his message is that it's really simple, for everybody to be kind to each other. So if you see that phraseology somewhere, then that group or that person is probably connected to Prema Baba, and sometimes a lot of times they probably don't even know it. But that's besides the point. So anyhow, it's going to be very interesting to see how all this is going to pan out. Right?
So would that be comparable to the second coming of Jesus?
Exactly. Well, the second coming is already happened. The second coming is Maitreya Buddha. Buddha. Maitreya Buddha is the Christ that's supposed to come back and oversee or come back like a thief in the night, which he's already done. He came back. He came into the Palestine area, flew in like a thief in the night into the England or London area, and now we're just waiting for him to come forward in the public eye. And so, and by the way, before I forget, I asked, and I thought about this, I thought, I said, Prema Baba, are you the same being as Spirit of the Age of Aquarius? And he says, yes. So I have already been working with Prema Baba for years. I didn't know it. I didn't realize it until a few years ago. And so this is all just like unraveling. And it's just like the Blog Talk radio show. When I first started doing it, I said, God, I'll do this only if you bring these people to me. And the show just kind of unraveled on its own. It had a life of its own. Pretty soon the music show was born, and then the psychic show was born, and then the relationship was born, and the healing show was born, the challenge show was born. And then I developed a calendar. First there was a calendar for every three months I was doing it, and then every 6 months I was doing it, and then every year I was doing it. And so it was just like took on a life of its own. And the latest show I got going on that I'm looking to get off the ground, and we'll see how that works out. It's called the Ascension Expert, and just bringing on people. And I don't know how that's all going to work, because again, I'm just going to let it. I'm just saying, God, I'll do the show, but you're going to have to, take lead and show me what it is that you want me out of it, want me done out of it, want to have done on it, because I'm not going to go out of my way to make it happen. So that's kind of how it is, and I'm going with it and seeing what happens. And I'm assuming we're going to be bringing in all kinds of people, talk about ascension. And then eventually the traveling show is meant to show and teach people how to become ascended, or how to do the practices to become ascended at their own leisure, wherever they're at and whatever they're doing. And it doesn't matter what walk of life you're from or you're in. You could still do the practices at your own leisure and work with it. And you could become essentially enlightened and ascended in this lifetime if you want, but it's not something you can just go to church on Sunday and then that's it, and you forget about it. It's literally a daily thing that you do and involve yourself with, and that's probably the only way it's going to happen. Now I take that back, because there are people, and Amachi the Hugging Saint says that a person like an engineer looks at a blade of grass, and all of a sudden they're enlightened. All of a sudden boom, they're born, they're enlightened, they're right there, and they don't know how it happened, but it just happens. They've been working on becoming enlightened in other lifetimes, and tons of other lifetimes, and finally they get there, and they're there. So it's like that. Does that make sense?
Wow, makes sense. Sasha, we're running out of time. You have a final question or comments?
No, but if you always want to be enlightened, God says, you're such a nudge. Get off my back. Right. So again, if you want a copy of the book, if you just want a free copy, I think I have the PDF file on Facebook on Andrew Aloha fan page somewhere, or if not, just write me and I'll send you a copy of it. Or you can purchase the regular book or from Amazon or Kindle if you want to do that. And there's all kinds of stuff in there that people can use, tools that they can use to get through whatever crisis they want to get through. And again, what people don't understand is that a crisis is an initiation, is a form of initiation, and either you're ready to move on to the next level or the next step, or you're not. So it's just that simple. Thank you for having me on the show. I appreciate it.
Yeah. So we do have a couple more minutes. So, what is the next thing? So you're waiting for guidance to take you to that tour, and it sounds very interesting. If people want to contact you, they can contact you. And then, go ahead.
If people want to do the mentoring program, if they want to come in and do the mentoring program, I can cut them a deal on that if they want. I can do, it's a 12-week program, or it can be a faster program, a whole weekend, intensive if you want to do that. But, just get a hold of me. And I've done, several people, I've done the mentoring program with them. And that's how I learned that if they do transmission meditation with me and they ground themselves, that they won't get hurt, because none of them, because I taught all of them how to do transmission meditation. I taught them all how to do grounding, and we all get grounded before we get transmission meditation. And none of them have experienced. I don't believe any of them have experienced any kind of weird, just losing their mind type of thing. So I think they're all okay. In fact, all of them are doing much better now than they have been. A lot of them moved. A lot of them changed job positions. I mean, all kinds of stuff. The major transformations happened in their lives after we were done. I'm sure of it.
Excellent. Okay, so once again, your website is, we've got like a
spiritualimageproductions.com.
Say that again. I'm sorry.
spiritualimageproductions.com. Or just Google Andrew Aloha. You can find me anywhere.
Andrew Aloha. Okay. And I think we're looking for the end of the show. We're not sure when we're off because we're not,
like Andrew, we are all pilgrims on our own journey. And all we have to do is pay attention and see the challenges. It's all there for us. It's all here right now.
Aloha.
That's right. Okay, much love and blessings, and aloha. Are we done?
Radio at freedomslips.com, and we'll be right back after this message.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? I've just been handed an urgent news story, and I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
On the go? Still want to listen? Don't have one of those fancy phones with too many buttons? Don't know what an app is? Or you don't even care? Well, we got you here at Revolution Radio. Now you can dial in 24/7 to listen to our shows. We have a number for Studio A and Studio B, and best of all, it's free. Don't forget, your carrier charges for your cell phone provider may apply though, so check with your cell provider to make sure. So ready? Here you go. Get a pen. Here's the number. Studio A is 712-432-6958, and Studio B is 716-748-0112. Thank you very much for listening to Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com, the #1 listener-supported radio station in the world.
Hey everyone, it's Barbara Jean Lindsay, the Cosmic Oracle. If you have questions about your past lives or future plans, need answers from the cosmos about your love life or career, or just want to keep your finger on the pulse of the planet, check out my show, The Cosmic Oracle, here on Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com.
Thanks for tuning in to Revolution Radio. Here at Revolution Radio, we are listener-sponsored and commercial-free. But there still are bills to pay. In order to raise some needed funds to cover the cost, our station is offering a silver special. In the continental United States for a $60 donation, or in Alaska, Hawaii, or Canada for a $70 donation, we will send you an uncirculated 2018 1-ounce pure silver eagle. The $70 donation, the extra 10 is to cover shipping, by the way, outside of the continental United States. When making the donation, you must put Silver Eagle promo in the notes on the donation. And thank you for tuning in to Revolution Radio at revolution.radio and freedomslips.com. Without you, there is no us. Revolution Radio, where information never sleeps.
Looking for a nightcap to fill your listening needs? Come join us on Spaced Out Radio with me, Dave Scott, right here on Revolution Radio. Monday through Friday for 3 hours a night, starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, we will take you down the supernatural path. From ET contact to the paranormal and all of the spiritual, cryptid, and conspiracy stories in between. You can find us right here on Revolution Radio at spacedoutradio.com, on